Okay, you know what's an interesting thing is that when I was in college, we were already starting to talk about how the dollar would become a worthless relic. And back then, there were talks among my friends about how there will be alternatives to the dollar, but it would be different kinds of alternatives than we're seeing today. None of us were talking about things like Bitcoin. What we thought would exist would be things like Bank of America dollar or Citibank dollar or Wells Fargo dollar. Basically, we just thought the banks would issue a private dollar that they couldn't inflate very easily. But none of us really predicted a truly decentralized world that's basically coming. Now, I think I just read a few minutes ago that the national debt is around like $27 trillion. And as you know, if you listen to your average member of Congress or senator, none of them seem to have a problem with that. I mean, maybe they might say like a obligatory sentence here or there and say, hey, we should do something about the national debt, but they're not going to do anything. And the reason why it has to do with the fact is that a lot of the national debt is caused by mandatory spending like Social Security and Medicare. Do you think that anybody elected to any office would say, hey, maybe Bill Gates should not get Social Security. Maybe we ought to raise the retirement age to 75 or maybe even 77. Or maybe we should let people shift more of the risk involved in saving from the federal government to individuals. Maybe people should be saving their own money and investing it instead of expecting that future generations would prop them up like a pyramid scheme. Man, he really wants his Social Security check. See, that's what happens. That's what will happen when a member of Congress says, you know what, we gotta deal with this national debt. We gotta really start saving money. We can't continue to spend like there's no tomorrow. And I think that's one reason why members of Congress are really risk adverse. And meanwhile, you're seeing the debt go to the moon. Now, the funny thing is that the people who will be hurt by the national debt will not be people like Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg, because they'll just put their money in assets. Some of them will have it in their companies' equities, and since the companies will just raise prices, it's not going to really hurt them very much. And other people might have the money in crypto, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, even XRP and Bitcoin Cash and things like that, or gold. And that's another reason why everybody else will be paying for it, either through just much higher prices for everything. In fact, the Federal Reserve is literally like a secret president. Danny, don't you think that the Federal Reserve is like a shadow president in a way, because they really are the ones who control the economy, and people think, oh, the president is in charge of the economy? Well, it's to some extent, yes, but also the Federal Reserve has a lot of control.
I would say most people don't even know what it is.
They don't even know what that is, but there's a lot of control, like what the interest rate you pay for all kinds of loans and things like that, but they kind of are the secret economy, right?
What's interesting is when there was all the rioting and everything, nobody said anything about the Federal Reserve Bank. That was completely safeguarded. But I think in France, they did light the facade of it on fire. So there's people around the world that do know that the central banks do have a lot of power, but apparently not in...
That actually is a good point, because as the Federal Reserve just keeps printing money, it makes the rich people richer, and then everybody else starts finding that they're further and further behind. And then all of a sudden, the government says, well, we're going to shut you down. If you're a waiter, you can just stay home. Don't worry about it. Come back to us in a month from now. And that's fine. It doesn't matter if you have to pay rent or anything like that. You'll figure it out a way. But yeah, if Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates stay home, I don't think that bothers them too much. Who knows if they will comply with it or not. But I don't think it hurts them too much. But the Federal Reserve is creating divisions in society that are, I think it's hard to really notice it at first. I think the Federal Reserve is definitely making kind of a joke of our society in many ways. When you say that before the Federal Reserve started doing all this stuff in 2008, you didn't get so much extreme kind of crazy kind of policies. I mean, Bernie Sanders was in Congress, but he wasn't really going anywhere. He was just an old dope from Vermont, and nobody really listened to him. No AOC socialists or anything like that. Then it just started because people got more angry.
What are you saying?
I'm saying, didn't the Federal Reserve cause more extreme politicians like AOC and all these clowns? Because these people would never have gotten elected in the past, right?
But they are not saying anything about the Fed except they want money given to the people directly.
Yep. So basically, what the Federal Reserve is, they created like a virus in a way, because before there was an assumption that if you got wealthy, it was earned. But now people are starting to think maybe that is not the case, because they think that a lot of these gains are just due to inflation, just causing assets to go to the moon. And that's, whether you agree with that or not, that's what a lot of people feel, and whether they're in France or whether it's even Hong Kong or all kinds of places. I mean, they're causing incredible divisions in society, and most people are not really aware of the reasons why. I think it's partly because we don't really have a free media anymore, so the media doesn't cover, hey, why do people seem like they're so angry about so many things? Well, it's because the money supply is not stable anymore, and it's causing very unstable politics. And that's one reason why people, who never would have cared about trading for, like for instance, currencies, how they're all into Bitcoin all of a sudden, none of these people would have cared about that before 2008. But now that they're seeing that the banking system doesn't seem like it works very well, and they see that their dollar goes down in value over time, they're interested more and more in the alternative currencies. So let me know what you think of Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, all the alternative currencies out there. And I look forward to seeing you again in another video. See you later. Let's see how it is without the light all of a sudden. Wow, that's really dark.